Hey, what's good, people? This is the Option Podcast. What a mess. Checking my own show today, but you know what? This man's got my back. This is Timmy B, MMA, baby, from the Fight and Sight Podcast. The episode starts right now. We don't have to do any chronology. We could be chronologically awkward. We could start present to past because the last month has been a lot of fun, right? You got O'Malley against Aljamain
I'm
Sterling.
rich.
Huh?
I'm rich.
Yes.
I'm making money. I'm making money hand over fist, my friend. That's all I
Just
know.
talking about it.
Six times. No. 6 times betting odds
Yeah.
on Sean Strickland
Yeah.
this weekend
Seven to
was
one.
huge odds.
He was 7 to
Oh, I
1.
got it. God damn, I got it at 6 to 1, but I cashed in at 6 to 1, so that's all right.
You know what? That's like saying, man, I only got the mansion and I don't have like the whole estate. I think we're good.
Yeah.
Right?
I have
I only got the
three
Lexus when I
Lamborghinis, but
could
I got
have.
space for a fourth. God damn it. Yeah. Yeah.
Where's my garage, bitches? So let's talk about actually since we're on that subject, right? And it is the most recent. Let me get a little mic here. Since it's the most recent, I guess the first question is let's talk from an MMA purist perspective first. How did
Hmm.
that happen? How did that happen? I want you to go first because I got a lot to unpack about
You want me
this.
to hypothesize with my great intellect why Sean won?
Yeah, let's talk. You can approach it from the strategic. You could approach it from the
I'm going at it from the
psychological approach.
mental, man.
Yeah, let's
I'm
do
going
it.
at it from the mental. That dude is insane, Sean Strickland. He's a lunatic, right? We all know that he self-professes it. He's a lunatic, but he has innate confidence. Very, very confident. He's very rugged, very tough. And I think he got into Izzy's head. I think the months long of, you know, calling him the Chinese champion, commenting on his manicured fingernails, commenting on his frosted hair. I think over time that really soaked into Izzy. And I think you saw it at the early press conference.
Hmm.
Um, I noticed that the odds for Sean started getting better and better after that press conference. I think a lot of people probably watched that press conference and saw the confidence in Sean, saw Izzy kind of sitting there with his glasses and hat on, really looking down, not engaging too much. If anything, he was picking a fight with Manel Cape, who's like,
It's
70 pounds
it's
his
like really.
junior. Yeah. I think he was lost mentally,
Hmm.
man.
Yeah.
And you got to remember, this is a guy who's coming off, he was 1-1 in his last two. He got knocked out by Alex Pereira, which probably beat down his confidence. Then he gets the rematch and wins, but then he's going up against this guy who some will say deservedly he didn't really deserve that title shot because of, Sean Strickland hasn't beaten all the top guys. But at this level in the game, you can't count anyone out. There could be a guy that comes off the contender series and can beat Israel Adesanya. You don't know who's out there in the world, right?
Right. Yeah.
And Sean's just a tough guy. But I think it was the mental game, man. I think the mental game was really big. That's what I was counting on. That's why I laid the bet down because I'm like, no, man, this guy's been going on a PR campaign to disrupt and dismantle Izzy's mental game. It
I,
was very interesting. There was his coach was quoted by saying for Sean to win this fight, this is Sean's coach,
oh, okay.
was quoted as saying for Sean to win the fight, Sean has to do everything right and Izzy has to get some stuff wrong. Like that's how even not confident like his own coaches were. You know what I mean?
Yeah. They
But
knew they
no, I
had to
think
play the
Sean
perfect fight, and even then, it
the
wasn't a
perfect game.
guarantee. Right.
That's right. And that's
Yeah.
crazy for you to think at this level in the game
Mm.
where you're going for a championship. You better think like, no, I'm gonna kill this guy. But even they were like very hesitant. But I don't know. I saw him in, and I think it was the mental game, and that's why Izzy couldn't get off. He gets rocked so bad in that first.
Right. Well, let me tell you something. Because there's nothing really to debate on the mental aspect of that. I mean, you're basically Eminem from 8 Mile. You basically said everything I was about to say before before I said it. If you remember the end of that,
Yeah, yeah,
this
yeah, yeah.
guy ain't no mother freaking MC. I know everything he's about to say against me. I got Eminem. I got Eminem from 8 Mile by Timothy B. So allow me to weasel my way into the physical part and the strategic part. Okay. If you watch Israel Adesanya's most successful fights, at no point is he not dominating, or he's not
Right.
necessarily not dominating the center of the octagon, but at no point do you ever see him circling constantly with his back like 6 inches from the cage, right?
Yeah.
And
Yep.
he's got. I mean, I don't know if he has a significantly heightened reach advantage over most of his opponents, but I know his reach is long enough. But moreover, we both know as MMA purists, he knows how to use it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
There are guys who probably have like I thought, who's the 185 guy who dyed his hair blonde? I forgot his name. Black guy. I forgot his name.
Derek
And
Brunson?
Derek Brunson has got a
Yeah.
longer reach than Israel, but Israel just absolutely
Yeah.
sniped him and made it look like a mismatch. I did two guys.
Yeah.
It looked like two different sports. So from a strategic part, if you looked at all 5 rounds, at no time did Strickland give Israel any part of that inside circle of the octagon. You know that little
No,
inside circle.
dude,
Go ahead,
and
take
you're
over.
right. And you're right. It's different if you're the guy that likes to be on the outside and likes to circle around.
Mm-hmm.
I train in mixed martial arts, and when I would spar, that's me. Like I
Right.
always like being along the outside, dancing around the outside because I'm 6'3". So I like having my long reach, always keeping people at bay, right? But there's this one guy that I would train with. Shout out to Jackson if he's watching this podcast. Hello, Jackson. This guy's a son of a man. He would do exactly what Sean does. And he's tall like me, but he doesn't stay on the outside. He just walks at you the whole time. And you're like, what the hell? And like you try to get away. It is frustrating as hell. And I've never seen Izzy put in that situation where he's just constantly being backed up. He can't, you have no second to reset. You can't even breathe. You know what I mean? If you notice, you watch Sean during that fight, and constantly, Sean, if you're watching on video, Sean would constantly go, like he'd be touching his face. Like there'd be little pauses with Sean where he would like kind of like brush his chin or something. Like he's doing these weird, not weird things, but these little things that he must have, these little idiosyncrasies, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
But he would always have time to do it
mm-hmm.
because he's the guy pushing. But Izzy never had even a moment to like shake out his arms or like wiggle or anything, right? Like
Yeah.
because he's constantly being pushed. Insane. It's
And if
beautiful.
you
I loved
look,
it.
you looked at all of his losses, and the cool thing is, all of his losses is a pretty small sample size, right? We're talking Yuri
Yeah.
Prohaska. I'm not Yuri Prohaska. Jan Blachowicz,
Bakovic,
at
yeah.
205, right? And you look at Alex Pereira. I'll use Blachowicz as more of an example. Constant
Hmm.
pressure, all 5 rounds in his face, with the ability to wrestle too. So that made the situation even worse, right? Because once
Yeah. Yeah.
you got a guy from a higher weight class who has some superior wrestling, that can get his hands on you because you have nowhere to back up from. So
Yeah.
there was already kind of a mini blueprint, but Israel's got like these skinny arms and these skinny legs, but yet his precision is so good. His one punch knockout power, or his one punch power, like the dude slept Pereira. I mean, Pereira was out kind of on his way down. I mean, just in my opinion, we both, you trained it, I watched it, and I'll defer more to you than me on that one. But it was cool to see someone actually have a game plan and follow the blueprint. Most of all, someone like Strickland, who offers the illusion of, oh, I don't give a crap. I'm just gonna go in there and knock his head off. I'm gonna knock the Chinese hat off his head. So
Yeah. Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's one of
Yeah.
those things where it goes back to the mental thing. It's like this guy's gonna come in and I'm gonna nail him because he thinks he's so good, and I'm gonna show him he's not. And Sean is like, gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah. The
Gotcha.
fact that Sean brought his Sifu to the events and was pointing him out and then playing up the Chinese angle. Now, mind you, before this goes off the rails too bad, my dad is from Hong Kong, so just
Okay.
watch it. Watch it.
Yeah. And I'm from a different
But
country too. I'm from Brooklyn,
oh,
so we're all
all right,
we're all
okay.
friends here.
So I'll save all my Brooklyn slander for another podcast. But like when you see Izzy doing that and playing into it, I'm like, right? We had on our show, we had very early days, we had a world-renowned body language expert, And he came on and he talked about the importance for fighters or for anybody that when you want to continue success, you really need to look back at what made you successful in the past and continue it. And with fighters, he was talking about, you'll see fighters wear the same things or have the same music or eat the same meals. Like a lot of, it's not superstition.
No, it's
It's
every
just,
sport.
hey, this is what brought you to success.
It's every
And
sport.
so, yeah.
Sorry, go
And
ahead.
so when you see Sean do this and suddenly play up this Chinese angle, bring in his seafood to the event and point him out in the crowd and do these things. It was off. It did not fit. And then we see the result.
Yeah, no doubt. And I would also like to point out, like I said in the middle of your beautiful soliloquy slash diatribe, that you look at tennis, right? You got Nadal like picking his in his behind, right? Pulling his underwear out of his shorts like once every two volleys and this and that. Yes, my man.
I'm holding
Yes,
up a tennis trophy. This is from 1993 as a
nice
champion. Yeah,
champ
there you go.
stuff.
Yeah.
Champ stuff. Look, today's podcast is about you. I could go on camera for, but like my guests already know that I'm this former, I'm a former like indoor savage for indoor volleyball. Moved to
Nice.
California, 7 years ago, and everything in coaching and commentating is exclusively beach. And the reason why I'm
Sweet.
happy to have
Beautiful,
you on
man.
the podcast is I was thinking about switching over to MMA. I have old Mark Ramundi. Mark Ramundi is an old friend of mine who, by the
Okay.
way, covered New York volleyball for the New York Post before he just leapt into MMA full time. So
It's
there's a little
crazy.
little fun fact about him. But he and I talked a lot, and this is. Beach volleyball is a weird sport. Like you had the Manhattan Beach, you had the Chicago Open. It's nostalgic, and then Monday happens, and then it's like, okay, where is it? What just happened? Where MMA is this? There's no off season. It's cyclical all year. Right?
That's the thing. No
So.
off season.
Hmm.
You can go, ask my wife. I can go, a year straight
Hmm.
with every weekend there's fights to watch, right?
Yeah.
It is crazy. I mean, and that's, aside from the UFC, if UFC for some reason has a break, I got other stuff to watch, right? Like
Yeah.
there's other leagues all around the world.
Yep, there is. Bellator has been doing a really good job making sure people get paid up front, but it's weird. You see more decisions when people get their bonus money up front.
Yeah, yeah. Like
They're like,
yeah,
all right,
when
I'm thinking in terms of winning, where, sometimes the starvation wage thing works for you because this dude's trying to knock someone out for his 50K. So
exactly. Yeah.
pick that up from me. You have a thought.
With getting paid and just getting paid all your fee up front rather than show and win.
Yeah, that's a new
Yeah, I
that's a new discussion that no one's. I think we might be the first ones. We might
you
be
heard
the
it here
first
first.
MMA
Now
people
I
to
don't.
talk about
Yeah,
that.
dude, I don't like it. I don't
Yeah,
like I don't like when you give someone all their money up front. You're right, because I think there's too many opportunities for someone to sandbag it
right,
and just dial it in and go, I'm already getting all my money. All right, see you later.
right.
That's why there's all that question around Ben Askren fighting Jake Paul, Tyron Woodley fighting Jake Paul, like or well, let's just say anybody fighting a Paul brother,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Are any of these guys really trying? Because Nate Diaz didn't throw one hard punch that whole fight, right?
No.
Tyron Woodley doesn't throw any hard punches. Anderson Silva, maybe, but you got to think if I've already been paid $2 million to step into this fight, what's my motivation to win,
Yeah.
right? Like
What?
if you're a retired fighter or whatever, and you don't have a lot of motivation, I don't know, man. I don't like it. I like you gunning for that win. I like you gunning for that extra money. People are going to complain about fighter pay and all that. I've got a lot of stuff to talk about that, and I often do. But nah, no, I think the win bonus is the way to go if you're trying to encourage
Right.
the best fights, right?
As far as best fights are concerned, would Silva not be in that same category as Woodley and Askren? If you watch Silva's boxing matches, it didn't look like he was phoning it in, and he did score
No,
victories, right?
yeah,
I enjoyed
Silva's.
watching him knock out Tito. That was fun.
Yeah, yeah. No, Anderson Silva versus Jake Paul was the one Paul brother fight that I thought for sure was
Right.
real.
Okay. Yep. Yeah, I like that. It's very well
I
said.
think his was probably the most real. But then if you look back at all the things that were interchanged there on that fight, where pre-fight Jake Paul said, "If you win, you help me part of this fighter union thing," and blah blah blah. There was a little bit too much stuff,
Hmm.
that was like, oh, okay, this is really set up for Jake Paul to win, because then now he gets Anderson Silva in this group, and Anderson Silva could go back to Daddy Dana White and go, whoa, 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 sorry, I lost a bet. I got to help this guy out on this, right? Like, I don't know, man. A little too much
And
shady
don't
crap,
bring
I
Paul
think.
Soros to translate. The man speaks like Chael Sonnen said. The man speaks the Queen's English. Why are you letting everybody fool you
Yeah.
like that? You could replace Soros with an app for $4.99. That was a Chael Sonnen quote. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah,
That
yeah, yeah,
was
yeah, yeah.
that dude.
Uncle Chael is the greatest. What are you talking
We could
about? Yeah.
spend a whole hour on Chael, but what I want to do before we jump on, there's so much other just fun things about mixed martial arts in all facets. There's two things I wanted to touch on. What you said before, Bellator.
Yeah.
There are more decisions now than finishes since the contract structure. I would do a 30-second skip, right? Because I'm still one of the idiots that still has cable. So
Yeah, yeah.
someone's pressed against the cage, right? And when this cage action, we're both MMA guys. We know they're looking for a single leg, they're looking for slips. They might be guarding their face
Yeah.
against uppercuts. So there's so many things going on. But I go to Bellator and there's two guys against the cage, right? I do a 30-second skip. It's the same position. I do a 30-second skip. I do like 30-second skips, and I'm like, referee, this isn't a staring contest. Please save Bellator from themselves. You got to just break them and because it's weird. I wanted to touch on that.
It's hard.
Hmm.
No, it's really hard, man. I don't know whether it's the organization that tells the referee, because remember, the referees are placed there by the commission, by the athletic commission of the state that they're in.
Right.
Technically, they're not Bellator employees or whatever. That's why you see the same referees at both events, right?
Hmm.
But could the promotion or the promoter say, hey, we want you to let these fights go against the cage a little bit longer or whatever? I mean, I don't know the point to why you would do that. It definitely puts out a more boring product.
Right.
I really think it comes
Because there's
down
no
to the fact
activity.
that,
Like we're
so
purists.
why
We
wouldn't,
have we
so
have
if
no
you're
problem.
Bellator,
We have no
so if
problem
you're,
with people against the cage. You and me, no problem
yeah.
because we're looking for things. But I'm skipping. Sorry. Go ahead,
Yeah, the
buddy.
difficulty too is the star power, right?
Right.
And it's, I don't know, like when you're watching a Bellator card, it's hard. They have stars, they have up and coming stars, and they have solidified stars, but a lot of a card you can watch, you don't know either guy or girl,
Right.
right? Like no offense.
It's for
So I
purists
don't know.
only.
It could be the quality of the fighters as well, you know. It could be the quality of the fighters that what are they going to do? But I don't know. It's Bellator is a tough product. Doesn't matter. Bellator is sold. There's
Right.
no more Bellator after Bellator 300. That's my call.
Yeah, I think, and that's too bad because, like you said, there is some talent there, and there is some up and comings, and there is some
Yeah.
promise there. So,
Well, we
speak.
had,
I
if I can
think I
break in
speak
for
for
one.
you and me that'd be sad. Just maybe for us, maybe not for the
No,
casuals or, you know.
it's sad for a multitude of reasons. But one thing that I think when people keep saying like, oh, PFL is buying Bellator and then they're going to disband Bellator or whatever, right? I
Right.
think one of the real bad things is that competition breeds success. Competition breeds
Yes.
improvement. If the number, I mean, I don't even know what league PFL is, but are they number 4? I mean, when you rank organizations, they could, in my mind, PFL is either number 4 or number 5.
Right.
And they go out and buy the number 3 guy,
Hmm.
maybe number 3, maybe number 4. I don't know where Bellator is. You're buying up those lower level pro organizations, which means fighters have less places to sign a contract to,
Right. Yep.
right? Like now I don't have 2 places to go to. I only have 1. You have less fights to put on just because PFL buys Bellator. What? They're not going to put on 2 events. They're not going to put double the events on. It doesn't make sense.
You're right.
So so then
Well, the
therefore
UFC did though.
fighters lose pay.
The UFC did though,
What?
right? When the UFC purchased WWE,
Uh-huh.
WEC, and when they
WEC.
purchased Strikeforce, their events went from like 20 a year to almost what seems like 30 or close to 40. You know,
Did
not
they though? Or is that just a natural progression
of
of
just yeah,
their business? I don't
right,
know that it's because, hey, because we bought WEC, we've now got to put on so much more. But
right.
I don't
There's
know.
also a
That's a
risk of
tough
an
one.
oversaturation situation too, right? Like
Yeah.
PFL keeping the same amount of shows would be a win. But like you said, the fighters would lose on that, but the I guess the fans would win because they can consolidate the best of the best, and and then
Yeah.
like you said, the fighters have to feel like they have to hit a level 2 reset button when they're up to level 8 trying to get to level 15. So I kind of totally get that. That's the best way I know how to put that. Mm-hmm.
I just think though we had a girl that we had been watching, Jenna Bishop, hot star out in California, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when she was turning pro, she had to decide, what organization am I going to go to? And she ended up going to Bellator. The money was, she tells us, the money was much better. The contract was more favorable. Like, it was, she was able to wear her own clothing, right? She has her sponsorship for clothing. So everything worked out for her. Now, if PFL buys them, I'm just like, I hope you didn't piss off PFL while you're debating your contract. You know what I mean? Like, because imagine you're a Bellator person who had told PFL to
go kick rocks.
Yeah. And then next thing they know, oh, guess who's back, baby? Right?
You need something from me.
I remember you. But yeah, so you don't know what's gonna, like, I'm a little bit nervous for people that might have been in a weird position there, right?
Mm-hmm. I was actually going to do this whole thing live, but because I came back from Aspen and I thought everything was okay, and I had like a live function for like Facebook and YouTube. We're gonna just do this live and have the comment section light up. But man, did I step in it. Hold on 1 second. Since I'm editing anyway, let me make one more. So now here's the important question before we move on. What's next for Israel Adesanya? He lost to Pereira. He got an immediate rematch, right? When you have an X amount of title defenses, that almost goes without saying, unless you're Aldo that got just starched and like psychologically didn't want to come back. But what's next for Israel?
Well, yeah, if he didn't want that rematch, that's fine,
right?
But I think if someone gets starched like Aldo did, it was very unfair to not give him a rematch.
Thank you. Yes.
You know? Yeah.
Look, I thought it would be more fair to give Aldo a rematch than Adesanya, because Adesanya wasn't a fluke. He lost 4 rounds to 0, 4 rounds to 1. Me, I had 5-0. So it was more convincing loss to Adesanya than Aldo, where if he didn't get caught, there are so many other lurking variables. Like he could have kicked Conor's legs out from under him for 4 rounds. So I agree with you in that respect.
No, but okay, wait, hold on. We're talking about Adesanya now getting a rematch?
Not Pereira. Pereira, he got caught.
No, I know. We're talking about
now. Yes.
We're talking about Izzy getting a rematch against Sean Strickland?
Yes. What do you think?
Anybody that says Izzy deserves a rematch, you unfriend them right away.
Yeah, lose my number.
Block them. Right? I don't care whether it's a family member or a friend, doesn't matter. You get rid of them out of your life, because that person is obviously insane. Izzy is now 1-2 in his last 3, and to your point, got dominated that fight. If it was a flash knockout, if it was a flash knockout, if it was close, if it was a robbery, anything like that, fine, give him a second immediate rematch. But now you are crazy to say that.
That would be insane.
I was posting it before the fight. I said, hey, when Sean wins, no immediate rematch. Right? And now people are posting, like Dana White was coming out saying like, oh yeah, a rematch might be reasonable. I'm like, I have a cut and pasted response I've been posting on everyone's Instagram that just literally says, F no. He's 1-2 and just lost four decisive rounds, unanimous decision on all judges' scorecards. There's no way this guy gets an immediate rematch. No. It's so stupid if they do. And here's my thing. If you put Izzy back in the main event slot, right, for this rematch, you're essentially discrediting Sean's ability to draw an audience as well, which I don't like, because that means every middleweight championship always has Izzy as a headliner, where you're going to attribute pay-per-view bias to to Izzy. I think you need to let it be Sean versus anybody else, DDP being the most reasonable.
Right.
And then see how that sells. People keep saying they think that the UFC didn't want Sean as a champion, think that he's a lunatic, that he's unappealing to the public. But dude is very appealing to the public. He's the Stone Cold Steve Austin of the generation right now, right? He's the
except one of them beat up your boss,
yeah. Well, he might. Who knows? He'll smash Dana over the head with a bedpan.
Dana gets stunned.
Yeah. But he's the anti-hero. People are flocking to him. I've had more people message me that they've been buying Sean Strickland merchandise than I've ever had anybody buy anybody's merchandise, right?
Whoa.
Those
Okay.
Strickland for President t-shirts, right? No, I think the guy's got a mass appeal, and I think, yeah, give him the respect. Let's see if he can sell a pay-per-view, and let's see if this guy can raise his stock. But Izzy, it makes no sense to me. He just got slaughtered.
The only way I would say give Izzy his rematch is if after the match was over, he's like, I had a bad day. This is an off day. I want a rematch. I want a rematch tomorrow. Instead, he's like, oh, I want to go with my team. I want to chill with my team. My manager's gonna do the interview. I'm gonna go chill. And I'm just like, this
He
isn't a
ran
guy.
away.
Look, maybe I know you have to have a separation, other because the losses hurt too much. If you can't find a way to compartmentalize, we're not machines. We're people. All right. Me as a volleyball coach, right, and a former player. The playing thing was my. I'll give you an example. Just going back to my sport. Playing was an escapism for me for a long time, but when my escapism became my career, I needed something else to do that allows me to come back and function at this like a mammal. All right. So I totally get where Israel's coming from. He needed to do something that allows him to come back and do his job like a mammal. But with that being said, the fans don't want to hear that at that moment. The fans want to hear, I want an immediate rematch or the better man won and move on. That was his dichotomy.
Yeah.
And he messed
Yeah.
up. He missed it. He was a prisoner of the moment, and he did give ownership of his loss, which is his way of saying no rematch. The better man won is saying no rematch. That's code for no rematch, dude.
Yeah, until your manager pulls you aside and says,
Come
"Yo,
here.
do you want that extra $1 million? Because you better say that you had a busted shoulder or you ate a funny sandwich, right?" Like
I'll do
until
I'll do
someone
it the
gets
New
in his
York
ear and
way. Can I
explains.
talk? Come here. Can I talk to you for a minute? Scumbag.
Yeah, yeah. There's something, right? Like, uh, it's the same as Aljamain, right?
Yeah.
Aljo, when he lost to Sugar Sean, the immediate response was, okay, I lost. And pre-fight, it was, this is going to be my last fight at bantamweight. Win or
Right.
lose, I'm moving up a division and blah, blah, blah. I'm going to let my boyfriend, or sorry, my best friend, Merab, get this title shot, right?
Ooh, I would love that.
But then give it a few days, all of a sudden Aljo's like, I want my rematch. And it's like, well, what about everything else you just said? Right. So we're in
Right.
a weird spot. So we'll have to see what Izzy says over the next few days.
Mhm.
Like, give him some time to think about it, give his management time to put some stuff in his ear.
Yep.
Because really, what's he going to do? We've seen him fight higher weight competition, did not go well. He gets weight bullied. So now what's going to happen? You've got to fight somebody. The fight with DDP would make a beautiful number one contender fight because
Oh
there's a
my God.
story there,
Yes.
and that could headline a pay-per-view without a title on the line. You know what I mean?
Man, that
Izzy
guy's
versus
so
DDP.
good, dude. He's so good.
But where are you going to put Sean Strickland? He has to fight somebody. So
Maybe
and
give
it's un.
maybe give
What are you?
Cannonier a rematch.
Cannonier's not going to sell paper. The story's not there,
No.
unfortunately,
That's
right? Like
yeah.
it's
I'm thinking more as a purist. I saw a
right.
cannoneer who has really good slips, who didn't necessarily
Yeah.
have a reach advantage, not even a height thing, but managed to get in, almost like Mike Tyson. Not exactly like, but like get in, duck in. Next thing you know, whoosh, he's got that Sagat from like Street Fighter thing. The fist gets a little
Yeah.
bit
Yeah.
longer when Sean thinks he has room. He can't reach me from here.
Right.
Oh, whoa, 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 what was that? Back up. So I like that. I'm well
Yeah.
set. So O'Malley,
Yeah.
does O'Malley approach this whole thing like I want to fight as soon as I can, and as far as Sterling's concerned, crap or get off the pot. Does he play it like that so he can move on, uh, or is he too much into this whole I finally reached here, I'm about this champ life, I want to chill for 6 months too. I wonder what his play is.
Well, he said is it not Sugar Sean that said he wanted to fight by December, right?
Yeah.
Didn't he say he wanted
Oh
December?
well. Yeah. I mean, look, you're the
But
guy
he's
for
calling
this.
out Cheeto, right?
Good,
He's
because that'll
he's
sell.
gone. Yeah, because there's a story there. Again, like for those that don't know, but those are two guys that fought before Sugar Sean lost, right?
Yeah.
No matter what Sugar Sean tells you his record is, he is not undefeated. He lost to Cheeto. That rematch makes sense. It's a sellable fight. The
Yeah.
styles are good. In the meantime, yeah, Aljo, God knows what he does. Merab's going to keep sitting. And then you've got Corey Sandhagen and Peter Yan. Those are all the other guys ahead of Cheeto in the
I
rankings. Oh,
wouldn't.
and Triple C. Give me a break. Triple C
Wow.
doesn't belong in those rankings. That's
No,
baloney.
get out
So
of here with that
I
nonsense.
don't mind
Yeah.
in reality, even though I think it's so stupid and I would never support it. Triple C versus Sugar Sean would be another fight that I would have liked to see,
Mm-hmm. Actually,
but
let's
Triple C can't
check
win a
out.
fight.
Yeah, I know, right? Let's check out. Let's go to camera 4. I want to check out the bantamweight rankings. Where are we?
Yeah, it's
Jamal Hill.
no, it's
Yeah,
Aljo, Marab,
let's check it out. Here we
Triple
go.
C.
This is Monday. This is probably
Look
going
at
to change
that.
by
Look at that,
Monday
baby.
afternoon. Yes.
Just like I said, Aljo, Marab, Triple C. Yeah, and then you got Corey, who I'm
Wait,
not a
Triple C
huge
is
fan
0
of.
and like what? 0 and 1 in this division, right? Is he
I
1
don't
and
know.
1?
It's so stupid that he's even there. Give me a break.
Yeah. Here's what I want.
Remember, these
Hmm.
rankings are baloney.
Here's what I want. Sugar Sean wants to fight in December. Give him a Rob. Marab beat everybody in front of him. He took care of his controllables. And though Cheeto Vera is the one that'll sell a pay per view because there is a story, right? Like Sean said he got injured in that match, but that was a match he was getting his behind whipped anyway. And I don't know, absent of the injury, what was going to happen, right? Cheeto was on. Cheeto was the best version
Yeah,
of
yeah, yeah.
himself. And no matter what anyone says, you and me got to give Cheeto the rub on that. That's just a victory. That was a straight up butt whooping. But
Yeah.
I do like if he decides to fight Cheeto, I wouldn't say no to Aljamain rematching Corey Sandhagen. I wouldn't mind Merab just wait until March, you know, or maybe just I don't know. Did he fight Dominic Cruz already? It's wow.
No, you okay.
Umar
Marab,
Nurmagomedov. Oh my God, he's got another Russian fighter coming up. Look at that, dude. Look at
yeah.
that.
No, what
Mm,
you need here's what you need for Marab. You need Marab to get released by the UFC
right.
and let Marab go fight in ONE FC.
That's
And
terrible.
let No, it's not terrible because if this idiot won't fight Aljamain and these two are gonna screw up the rankings, I don't like it. Like I'm not a fan of these two friends saying we're not gonna. I get it. I get that two friends shouldn't fight each other. I'm not saying that they
Right.
should fight one another,
Hmm.
but if you're the top two in the division, it makes things really weird for the promotion.
I'm
And I
trying to.
feel like UFC should take the opportunity. You trade Marab. Go
Mm,
trade Merab to ONE FC for another person. They've traded before when it
right.
happened with DJ and Askren, right? Take this opportunity to go, hey, you two don't want this here. Maybe Aljo wants to go to ONE FC, whatever. That's fine. But talk to them behind closed doors and say, hey, which one of you would prefer to go to ONE FC? Because we're going to trade one of you
No, no doubt. No
and
doubt.
put it down on the line. And then go get some freaking killer from ONE FC and
I
go get someone that you think is equal in value. Merab and Aljo would command a high price. So ONE FC is going to have to give us someone good.
You're right. So Marab's out
And
of the equation, then everything works out because, like
exactly. But you
everyone,
can't have these two. The
yeah.
two is messing it up. And because they awkwardly like they don't even coordinate their tweets. Like between the two of you idiots, can you figure out who's going to
They're in the
fight for this?
same
And then
camp.
same camp, same training camp, same vacation
Can't
time,
even
same
they
whatever.
can't even like coordinate tweets. It's like the dude sitting right next to you on the couch playing Call of Duty right now. You're playing Call of Duty right now, guys. What are you
Yeah, yeah,
doing?
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's just they need to figure it out, but I think ONE FC sorry, I think UFC would make a good move to just trade one of them, in
What
all honesty.
What's your favorite division right now?
It's it's normally women's strawweight, in all honesty. Women's strawweight is always freaking exciting and it's always got good fights and it's always got something good going on.
Yep.
I like that. And then of course you got lightweight, you know.
Yeah, lightweight has
Lightweight
been
always brings
for
something.
years has been
For
my favorite.
Yeah, for years it's always got like the top 10 are all potential champions and killers. You know what I mean? Like you always have great people. Um
Charles
it depends.
Oliveira.
Yeah,
Wow, let's go to camera
you know.
4 again. Look at this. Look at this list of killers, dude. Gaethje,
Right, right,
Poirier, Dariush, Chandler. You know what the crazy thing
right.
is? All of these guys could fight in like 3 weight classes, 145 or 170.
Exactly.
Just
Exactly.
crazy, man.
And and who's not on that list? Wait, go back to that. Can you scroll down
Yeah,
a
yeah,
little bit?
got it.
Where do we get to number 15 here? Because I know who's not going to be on the list.
Diego
Yeah,
Ferreira. Hmm.
you know who's not on that list that is the lightweight champion in my books is Bobby Green. Bobby
Yes.
King Green.
Oh,
Dude, I will spend full money on a pay-per-view for just one fight and if it was Bobby Green. You know what I mean? Like that dude is must-watch TV.
Mm-hmm. He really is,
And
dude.
he's not even in the rankings, but that dude is a killer. Remember his fight against Rafael Fiziev?
Yes.
Beautiful, beautiful fight that went the distance, and both
Actually,
those guys were killers.
oh my God.
And
So,
yet Fiziev is way up there, right? Which is so funny. So
all right, I got a countdown clock. You're gonna go first. 60 seconds. Tell me, you're gonna talk about why you like why Bobby Green is your favorite fighter in this division. Ready? Here's the clock. Right there. You see the clock? Yeah.
yeah,
All right. Let's 60 seconds. What do you like about Bobby Green? Go.
his beard, his backstory, his style, the fact that he came on my podcast, the fact that he called me out to be a guest on my podcast, his fighting style, the way he slips, the way he boxes, the fact that he's a wrestler at heart, but you would not know it, the fact that he came from a very difficult upbringing, beat all the odds to do that, talks about it openly. He took accountability for his USADA issue that he had. He just said, like, look, dude, I buy some stuff from Walmart. I don't know what it is, and I just ingested it, right? He's just so honest about it. He's such a good guy, very friendly, personable guy, very honest, always motivational and inspirational. When you look at his post-fight comments, when he talks about things, he's always telling people to do better, be good, whatever, right? You follow him on Instagram. He just seems like a good guy, no matter how hard this dude looks. He's a gentleman and a true martial artist, and his story with his father and his stepfather and foster families, incredible work for this dude.
Oh my God, your timing is awesome. You're a true
Oh my
journalist, my
God.
man.
Oh,
All right, my turn.
professional.
I'll go. I
Yeah.
think I'll go on this. All right, when I think of Bobby Green, I think about get some. When I think of Bobby Green, I think about him getting punched in the face and saying that's all you got, even if he got hurt. When I think of Bobby Green, I think about the guy who raised Dustin Poirier's hand when he lost, who raised his opposition's hand with the last match he won. He knocked out, I think it was Tony Ferguson or submitted Tony Ferguson, and the same guy who raised both hands when it was a draw. There was a fight that went to a draw a couple of years ago. This man is entertaining. This man is a human promotion machine. This man picks up the phone and says yes all the time. Not to mention the backstory that you talked about. This man coming up in the streets and who he is. Not to mention this man being the same guy who he was before everyone knew who Bobby Green was. There's something to be said about some elite athletes who success changes them and they become more reserved because people are trying to sell them a car or trying to get them into real estate. Or, the protective mechanism, also the narcissistic mechanism. And here's this guy flying above the radar and at the same time below the radar. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Bobby King Green. Excellent. I love lightning rounds. That was that. Ooh, did you get a rush? Did you get a rush? I got a rush.
Yeah. You know what I was gonna do?
Go ahead.
My wife would kill me if I did it though. Was I was gonna drink water and just spit it in the air, Triple H style, like Bobby Green does. But I didn't want to mess up everything. I get in too much trouble.
Dude, yeah, this thing is not a green screen behind me. This is an actual volleyball thing. But I got to tell you, I'm gonna have a painter actually paint this. Since I fell in love
Cool.
with it. Yeah. Even it doesn't even have to have volleyball meaning anymore. It's just I'm living the dream, the whole sunshine thing. Yeah. Sometimes some things in your life are up and down. Right now, I'm all the way up. So I'm feeling really really good today.
Good for
I'm
you,
feeling
man.
feeling really good to have you on this podcast too. This is every bit as fun as I thought it was, and we're still going, buddy.
Yeah, man.
Next subject matter: will Conor fight again? In the UFC, and I guess let's start with the more immediate one. You take the wheel, but I want to make sure Chandler's in this equation in this conversation at some point, and you could take that or I can, but I think you will. Floor's yours, my man.
I think Conor will have lots of fights in the courtroom,
Okay.
but I don't think he will fight in 2024. I think maybe 2025. I think it's going to take a long time for him to get the juice out of his system.
Mm-hmm. Ooh. No.
I think the fact that UFC didn't have him sign up for the USADA testing pool the day he signed on the dotted line to say, I'm going to be the coach of Tough, was a massive misstep by everybody. Like, who's to blame for that? Someone's to blame, and it's got to fall on UFC, because you can't be signing this guy to do your reality show where the whole point of the reality show, aside from one season ever, has been where the two coaches fight at the end. I'm pretty sure on that stat. You know what I mean? I think it was only the Randy Couture, Rich Franklin one or whatever, which was number 2 or 3, whatever.
Well, you got
The
Matt Hughes and Rich Franklin.
That's it. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
The two coaches
And
are supposed
Uriah
to fight
Faber.
at the
Sorry,
end of
Uriah
this.
Faber and Conor as well. But sorry, go ahead.
Well, but then there you go. What's the common denominator, right? You can't, like, this shit is so stupid. You're using Conor because of his name to bring views to a show that the ratings are tanked anyways,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like everything about that show is kind of a disaster now. But so for the fact that he wasn't in the testing pool, I don't know. They say he's in it now, but I'm sure that's baloney. I don't know.
The testing
And
pool
it's
has been
unfair.
baloney.
Well, the whole testing pool and everything, and then Chandler saying like, "Hey, I'll fight him. I don't care about the testing." And it's like, dude, that's fine because you just want the money. But if you really want to compete fairly, this is the whole reason why we have USADA here, and there's no reason why this guy can't enter the pool unless there's a problem with him.
Right. Because
And
anything, yeah, it would be a circus, right? It's like saying I'll fight him with one hand tied behind my back, and you're like, no, that's not the sport. No, you're gonna fight.
exactly,
You're gonna
yeah.
shut up and
And
fight with two hands and then do it appropriately.
yeah, and I love Chandler too. So here's my thing: I don't want him to lose to a juiced out Connor, which then ruins his legend status or his, whatever. Like it's not right. On paper, I think Chandler destroys McGregor. I think Gaethje destroys McGregor worse. I
Yeah.
think Oliveira probably just like I just don't think McGregor has it now. And I think like you see the pictures of him. This guy has so many roids in him right now. Allegedly, right? I don't want us to get sued, but it's obvious. Come on, you can tell, right?
Yeah.
So does this guy fight? No, I think even if he wants to, I think it's going to take him at least until 2025 before he fights. I don't see him fighting before.
You know, it's weird. You're the first person that actually associated Conor McGregor with steroids. Probably because I haven't been listening to Ariel and like some of these guys lately.
Oh, okay.
But if that subject has come up, I totally missed the boat on that, and I thank you for like.
I think people look at his
yeah.
head size.
Yeah.
People are saying that when
But
you
you
look at
do,
photos,
but
and
do
you
you
see his
remember in the
skull,
press
just
conferences, like he was really big on being against that or whatever. When remember when Nate Diaz is like they're all on steroids, and he's like, no, you want to check out performance and hits and drugs. Check with your brother, huh? Jake Shields. And man, he went off on the whole scrap pack, right? Melendez got caught,
Yeah.
Diaz got caught,
Yeah.
and Diaz got caught.
Yeah, and the thing is, to be fair, is that McGregor had that awful leg break, so he was in surgery. He had to get medication. I spoke
Which
with
required
other
steroids,
fighters.
yeah.
That's right. So you require that and all that, and that's fine. But then afterwards, what does it take to get you better? And do you stay on it a little bit too long, or blah blah blah? Right? What are you taking? Because I did ask some fighters when they've come on my show. I said like, hey, when you're out for surgery and stuff, this was about the Conor McGregor thing. I think it was.
Yeah.
I asked. Oh my God, the dude was doing weed on my podcast the whole time. Like he kept smoking a bong. Max Payne Griffin.
Oh my God, Max.
That dude is the best.
Oh shoot.
Because he had a bad break and surgery. And I said to him, I said, well, wait a second. When you go off on surgery and you have to take medication stuff, do you have to tell USADA like, hey, stop coming to my house to test me because I'm taking stuff to get better at my heel? And he goes, not really, but they kind of just know, like. It's like there's no reason for Conor to even be out of the pool. You know what I mean? Like, because you would just say, like, hey, I'm taking this stuff for my broken leg. But the fact that this whole thing happens, it's all very weird, man.
It is weird. And I mean, I'd like to end, I guess, shut the door as fast as we open this thing on Conor, where, to quote so many people, it's really hard to get out of bed when you have $100 million in the bank, you know?
Yeah.
And at some point it's going to come back to him because he doesn't seem like the guy who uses his money wisely. My wife, who's in finance, said it's not about how much you make, it's about how much you spend. You know what I'm saying? And
right.
And listen, the whole concept of paying someone a lot of money to talk about money, I can only say I'm glad I'm on her side. I'm glad. I'd like to be like, y'all are bull crap, but come on, I'm on the other side. I'm on the other, barely on the other side of the fence when it comes to that. Now, regarding Conor McGregor, I will say I was the one guy who would just wish he went away, and now that I miss him, that he's gone. It was just so much fun. The guy was just so much fun to be around. He let his hang. Flyweight division had to, featherweight had to, suck down dry. If you watch the weigh-ins now, what he looks like now, no wonder you think he's all swole up, right? And what, perfect 7-0, I think, in that division. And I knew that when he got to 155, I knew it'd be a different story. And I know the UFC offered this illusion of him being the greatest 155 because he got to jump the line and fight Alvarez, right? He got to skip the line when Tony Ferguson was at his prime, right? When Khabib Nurmagomedov was telling Dana while he's beating down Johnson, you know I deserve this. Remember, he's like giving him noogies. Next. You know I deserve this. Giving this dude noogies. You know, just give up, please. Don't make me hurt you. That type of thing. So he got to jump the line on that. So it was a lurking variable that guys like you and me saw right away. But it was one of those things like he wins at 155, jumps to 170. He's got this GOAT status that, in my opinion, was an illusion. And I was scared to share that opinion because you were a hater, right? You were a hater if you had that opinion, you know?
Well, there's one thing that I'm sure you realize when it comes to like producing a podcast or being a public speaker and things like that is like if you have any opinion that falls outside the norm or the general public's general idea of something, you suddenly become a hater. It's not that you're intelligent or that you have an alternative point of view or that
or that you have critical thinking skills. No,
it's none of that. It's just that you're a hater and you're a jerk, right? No, you're right, 100%.
Well, I'll give both of us a piece of advice that I learned a year into this podcast thing. You let it settle for a few days, and then when you say now that time has allowed everybody to hit the reset button, I will say this, because I'll give you an example. LeBron James, right? Every time he wins an NBA championship, everyone's like, he's the GOAT, he's the GOAT. And then when you disagree, he's the GOAT. Oh my God, you're a hater. Oh, you can't let this man just have his moment. And I'm like, I'm no, you can't let him have his moment. You can't just say, great win, quality win, he deserved finals MVP. You the one that got to talk all this nonsense about GOAT this, GOAT that. So you call me a hater, I'll call you a hater creator. You know, so it's one of those things where even though I'm right, it's all noise unless you let everything settle down, right? Let's say LeBron wins let's say Brady wins on Sunday, right? Wait till Wednesday. Wait till maybe even Thursday.
Right.
Being like, okay, everybody calm down now. No, he's not the GOAT. You know, or just
yeah.
You know.
I mean, the thing is too is like what I'll say to people oftentimes, like I'll leave comments on posts or whatever posts that I make and things like that are you know to some people insane or controversial or whatever, right? But what I'll say to people when they, you know, they'll debate me or not even debate, they'll just come and personally attack me, right? And I'll just say like, well, you know, I'm sorry that I don't share your exact same opinion on this, right? And then they'll be like, how dare you have a podcast on fighting? You don't know crap, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, if everybody shared your exact same opinion, why would you want to listen to a podcast that's just your exact opinion repeated to you, right? Like, you want to be listening and talking to people that share different opinions or different points of view on things so that you can try to grow or understand or at least have the enjoyment of debating back and forth.
Yeah.
Why would you want to just listen to someone that's going to say the exact thing you're going to say? Like, what's the point of that conversation, right?
Exactly. Just to have a little circle jerk where we all agree. Yeah. Oh, I agree. Oh, and anyone who disagrees is a hater, right?
You're so smart, just like me. I'm super smart too, right? Like, what the frick, dude? Like, it brings nothing to the table.
But I think as a podcaster, it's the combination of knowing who's trolling, also knowing yourself, right? When I got into this podcasting thing, of a really good volleyball player. I forgot who it's probably Randy Stokely, who's like the king of the beach, right? He said, when you're at the zoo, play with the animals, but don't feed them, you know? And I said, is that what you do? He says, hell no, I feed him all the time, you know, because it's his personality. Like if you look at Demetrius Johnson's interaction with people on Twitter, and if you look at Dana White's interaction with people on Twitter, two different personalities, two different ways to do it. Like Demetrius, if you're just saying dumb stuff, he's probably going to mute you, and you're hollering into the wind and not even knowing you're hollering into the wind. Dana takes on all comers, you know. Oh, I'm a P. Would you call me? So it's about knowing yourself, right? Versus there's a general rule about playing with the animals versus feeding them when you're at the zoo.
Yeah.
And that's Twitter's not a real place, but goddamn, it's a cesspool, isn't it? It's just this crazy thing that I don't have a lot of followers on. Thank God. YouTube is the one. You know, I think I got like 24,000, which is pretty cool. Facebook even more. Facebook, I'm that age demographic where this might get more push on my Facebook channel than then whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you're right. It's about I love interaction, but there's some people you just don't say anything back to.
Yeah. It's nice when people come at you with negativity and hate,
Mhm.
and the clown emojis. Like people love to use that clown emoji,
Yeah.
boy. But when you can start to debate them on something, or sometimes I'll say that reaction, I'll say like, hey, but if we all shared the same opinion, blah, blah. What I really love is then sometimes you'll get people that go, you know what, you're right, man, that's cool. And then they'll
Mhm.
start to engage in a more intellectual conversation. They'll follow me back, and then we'll be able to talk moving forward. Because they kind of come at it strong and hateful, but then when you kind of just put everything in context, they're like, oh, okay, right. And
Like that
when
makes
those are the
sense.
people, that's really awesome. Like when you get that kind of response, it's pretty
Cool.
cool.
Nice. All right. Next 60-second lightning round. Okay. I'm going to go
Yeah.
first on this one and you can back
Yeah,
clean
man.
up for me. So as the question is, who does Leon Edwards fight next? Before I do the 60 seconds, do you have any on news? Any news that if he signed to fight anyone yet?
No, so I
Okay.
don't know that he
All
has
right.
it. No,
Cool.
I don't think
Good. Good. We
anything's
can go in blind on this one. Have a good time. So I'll go first on this one since I went last a bunch of times and I got to let you talk last for 2 seconds. Um, I'm going to go with the obvious one. I'm going to go with Kobe Covington. And here's my reason why. Yvonne Edwards approaches this whole thing with a heightened level of humility, a heightened level of respect, and a heightened level of complacency and sanity, which none of these things are selling points for our insane fan base. So just like Anderson Silva needed someone like Chael Sonnen to sell the fight and to entertain the fans, I think Leon Edwards, in order for him to take the next level of his money making I guess enterprise or endeavors in this sport, he needs an antagonist, someone like that. If you choose to be the good guy, you choose to be respectful, and it's weird because it's kind of like this drama thing, this Hollywood thing going. You need someone like Covington, and you know what, Covington representing the USA probably gonna say screw the Dutch, even though this guy's British. He's gonna be like F the Dutch. It's like I'm from Great Britain, you moron. So you need someone like him, and definitely to push the pace. Covington has delivered, just very much like Sonnen in his prime, has backed up and delivered everything he's talked about, and it'd be great for Leon Edwards. The floor is yours, my man.
boy, oh boy. Is it bad that I say that if I even think about who's the top contenders in that weight class, I don't know anybody but Colby Covington?
Right.
You know what I mean? Um, I think Colby Covington is the obvious choice. I think Dana White has pretty much alluded that that's the guy. I think he brings the most eyes to that division. I think he is a fantastic fighter who, in truth, has beaten everybody except for the then champion Usman twice.
Yeah, two
But
horse race.
aside,
Yep.
but aside from that, he's beaten everybody, and people always said he's the next guy. If Usman were to ever go, Colby's the only guy. So, okay, Edwards got that shot and took it away, which now leaves the door wide open for Colby to take this fight. I think he's the most exciting. I think he brings everything to the table exactly as Sean Strickland does, except for it's all a facade. Everything about Colby Covington is fake, but I love it. I don't mind at all that he's doing it. I hear that he's the nicest guy in the world behind bars, and I think he deserves that shot.
There's an old saying: "Good artists create, but great artists steal." All right, my degree is in theater performance from Marymount Manhattan College. I was in the BFA program, and almost everything that I got that made me a great performer on stage did not come from this my own grounded experience. It came from someone
Mm.
else's and imitating their experience. Even though in my lifetime, 53 years on this earth, I'm sure you and I have a lot of stories we can have a drink and share. All interesting, but as far as turning it up, if you remember Chael Sonnen, always undefeated, always undisputed. Of course, he was defeated, and of course, that's disputed. Okay, that's not real.
No,
That's
you better edit that out.
That's
That is
phony.
pure lie and
Right?
slander.
That's phony.
Yeah.
That's blasphemy, right? Come on.
Yeah.
He did that to Michael Bisping, and Michael Bisping's like, well, obviously he's been defeated, and it is disputed. So it's one of those things where, like, even when you point it out, nobody cared. And this
Yeah.
is what we got with Kobe Covington. You pointed out that's not real. It is a facade. It is a little bit of phony. But even Shakespeare, to do his plays, had to borrow Senecan characters from the Greek playwright Seneca, right? If you look at Hamlet, you look at the the bad guy, the ass kisser, the assassinator. Hamlet's got his right hand person, the ghost, right? All of these characters were something called Senecan characters. So in essence, Shakespeare bit. He borrowed, took the ball, and ran away with it. And in order to have drama, sometimes that's by the definition of drama. Timothy, okay? The definition of drama is the recreation of conflict between two individuals put in front of a stage as if it's happening now. That's Colby Covington. So totally got you on that. And I didn't mean to top off.
I think he's exciting, man.
Yeah.
I think it would be weird to have, it would be crazy to have UFC have both their champions be Colby Covington and Sean Strickland.
Yeah.
I think it'd be crazy. I think it would be an amazing time for America.
Yes.
Like, I'm Canadian, mind you, so I'm out in Toronto, Canada. But obviously, America is very exciting for us here in Canada.
Different country.
Yeah, there you go. But when you look at what that would do for America, you would think that America is going to be insanely happy that they have these two champions that are like so pro-America too, right? Like you think back to the 80s, you think the Hulk Hogan times or you know what I mean? Like the Rocky Balboa, it's like America versus Russia or America versus the world. Like these two champions exude that kind of character and exude that kind of personality, which is pretty cool for an entertainment sport, right? Like it is very cool for people to watch.
He's got the Kurt Angle song. He's got the Kurt Angle song.
Yeah. Like you bring in, right? Like you bring in the fans, you bring in the eyes, you bring in the viewership, right? And that's what, as a business, that's what you want. So I think they have to put Colby in that position. You got to hope that Colby wins, and you just watch the profits roll in.
Yeah. Even if it's close, let's say Colby wins and there's an immediate rematch, you're talking double profits there. Well, it depends. We got to watch the match first before we even talk about any rematch, right? Whether Colby loses. I don't even see how Colby loses that match. How would
if Colby loses, he gets an immediate rematch?
No, because that would have to. No, that would have to be a Chael Sonnen situation. Because Chael was going to get a rematch against Anderson, and then he tested positive for anabolic steroids or something like that, whatever's in the system. Yeah. Can I say something? I want to say something funny. Keep that thought. I want to say something funny that Chael Sonnen shared that we should all share. He's like, look, as it a question of why did I use performance-enhancing drugs? He's like, I use performance-enhancing drugs to enhance my performance. That's a dumb question. Do you take drugs to diminish your performance? So I just wanted to actually add that caveat just for humor and hope you didn't lose your thought on what you're going to say next.
No. I was just simply going to say, like, it's the right fight to make. It's interesting and it's exciting, and the fans just want to see it, so there's nothing else.
There is nothing else, and I'm looking forward to it. And you're right, it is he does have this whole, like in the United States, stereotypically, you like the whole America first thing and this and that, before Trump even came along, was a Republican thing, was a conservative thing, which is really weird to me, because back in the day, liberals were the ones that were anti-war and pro-free speech and America first, right? Take care of our own. Let us say what we want to say and this and that. And there's this ultimate reversal, but still the whole America first concept still belongs to, I hate to say belongs to, but because it's, I know, right?
Hold on. Isn't that crazy that you're even thinking that, though?
I know.
Like, like when you think about America first, or for us, it would be Canada first, right? You shouldn't attribute that with a party.
No.
Right? Stupid. In politics. You shouldn't be attributing to that to a certain type of person. Like America first for you guys in America should be everybody. We should all agree on that.
Yeah.
And then we can differ in the ways that we get there.
But it depends on who the president is. That's why there's a partisanship.
So insane.
Like if you remember the Iraq War, right? That wasn't American first. Wait, what the hell were we doing over there? That wasn't us first.
No, of course.
Right?
Yeah.
But now the conservatives all of a sudden, with Ukraine or whatever, or what are we doing there? So and this and that. So who's the president now, right? So sometimes it revolves around who's president, because in this country, when you become president, your whole objective is not to do the things you promise. Your whole objective is to get reelected. And if you're a
Yeah.
halfway decent president, if you have an ounce of caring in your body, year 4, 5, and 6, and 7, you'll see a lot of your policies. Like if you're a two-term president, if you meant what you said, like Obama, I thought did the best he could, whatever. I mean, not knowing what that guy knows, I mean, I'd like to play judge and jury on him, but being the president and the knowledge you're privy to and the things you have to not say, that
Mm-hmm.
you get to eat a bowl of crap from the people when they don't know. So I mean, so I'm not gonna get into the whole politics thing, but my politics, I'll just stay with this. I love my guns and my gay people. Those are my policies. My policies are: if you take the elevator to the penthouse, push lobby and send it back down. Give everyone else a chance to come up to take the elevator
Yep.
up. So that's
That's
the
beautiful.
general assessment of if you ever want to know my policies. I'm a New
Yeah.
Yorker, you know. I'm a kid from New York, so you know, and I was once poor and now I'm making money, so you know, you kind of appreciate both ends. You know,
Yeah.
yeah. McConaughey wrote a book. Matthew McConaughey wrote a really good book called "Conservative Early, Liberal Late." Really, really good read. Interesting read, and it reads really fast. And because I don't like to read, so I wouldn't recommend it. So if I'm a guy you know who doesn't like to read, recommending a book. That one, Scars and Stripes. Tim Kennedy.
Yeah.
Very good book. Ex MMA
Yeah.
guy, as you know.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah.
And,
Yeah. Yeah.
And the real Anthony Fauci, but that's a whole nother story. That's RFK. All right. So 60 seconds. No, let's just do a straight answer with this.
Okay.
Ankalaev, from 205, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Remembering his last fight, and you stop me at any point. He fought Teixeira, right? And a lot of people thought he won. Or was that his last fight? Stop me at any point. Let's
Yeah. No.
see.
I'm gonna pull it up and
Me
see,
too.
but
Me too.
I mean, this dude is a tough one because I think even to many hardcore fans, you may not recognize him on the street.
Right.
You know, you bump into this dude, I don't know that you recognize who he is. You
Wow.
know, doesn't have a great personality, you know, sorry, not a great personality, but doesn't have an outstanding personality that you would recognize this dude. Yeah, I mean, his last fight was for that championship that bombed when it became the split draw.
Yes, that was crazy. And you know what's
Yeah,
crazy? I'm looking
I
at the
mean,
rankings right now. They don't have light heavyweight. They have
no, they
middleweight
had.
and they skipped to heavyweight. What the hell? What am I missing here? All right, I'll figure it out later. But
So yeah, no, okay. So he has that draw to Jan Blackwist, but before that he beats Anthony Smith,
right,
which almost every light heavyweight has beaten. Thiago Santos, okay, fine. Again, Ozdemir, yeah, fine. Krylov, I love that dude, but yeah, okay,
yeah,
fine. And then Kutilaba. Like when you
twice, right? He
look
beat
at this,
Kutalaba twice.
yeah, but again, when you look at this record, and again, it also highlights perhaps a little bit of a weaker time in the light heavyweight division.
Hmm.
Um, it's tough, man. You know, he hasn't had big fights over big names and big wins over big names. Of his last four wins, only one was a stoppage. The rest were all decision. You know, it's a little bit tough when you get to a guy like this. And is he going to be the next title challenger? Is that what
Hmm.
you're getting at? Ugh,
He's
I don't
18 and
know.
well, he's 18-1 right now,
I know
right?
that's the kill. That's the
And
kicker, right? I mean,
Blakovic is who he's going to fight in December. No, he beaten Blakovic, right? No,
no,
that
no,
was a
no.
draw.
No, that's the one that was the draw, the split draw. So I mean, yeah, you should have redone that fight,
Right.
perhaps, so
But
that we can figure out ranking wise. But
did he not also fight Teixeira and lost?
no, he hasn't fought Teixeira.
Okay.
No.
Who was the guy that fought
Glover, you mean, right?
Glover Teixeira and lost? And everyone,
Yuri.
yes,
Yuri
everyone,
Blahovic.
right.
Geez Louise. Projaka. Yuri Projaka.
Nice. Prohaska.
Yeah. Prohaska, yeah.
See, New York, Mongol upbringing. A lot of Polish people in my
Yeah.
life.
There you go. There you go.
Sorry, go ahead, buddy.
No, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't have much to say on
Yeah.
this dude because honestly, I don't have much of an opinion just based on he's just a guy that's been floating around.
He has. He's ranked number 2, though.
It's,
And if not him, who? You know,
I
but
don't
if not
know.
him, who? Yeah.
What do you do for this? Like, here, let me see what I'm pulling up as light heavyweight rankings. Do.
I found it
Light
actually
heavyweight. Okay, yeah. So you got Yuri,
as one.
Ankalaev,
Let's show
Bahia.
let's show the audience. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, here. Okay, you got it?
Mm-hmm. Let's
Yeah,
zoom
there you
in on
go.
top 10. You know, for a
That's tough,
division
dude.
flying under the radar, these are
That is,
savages, though, huh?
they are savages, but none of them are like standout guys that you're going to put at the top of a poster.
Agreed.
Let's be honest, right? Like,
This
okay,
is this is the one
Jan's
guy
got
right
facial
here.
recognition.
That this guy, if he won more, if he didn't lose like some untimely matches against Corey Anderson, this guy right here, Johnny Walker, would have been it. But sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. No. Yeah, fine. I was worried that you were highlighting Anthony Smith, but
No.
yeah, okay, thank God. Yeah, no, I just think this is a division that's tough to sell.
Mhm.
I think the faces here are tough to sell. Um, like
Yeah.
the fact that you have Alex Pereira there as number 3 when he's fought one fight in the division,
Yeah. I mean,
right? Like, I
who the
mean
hell are the
that's
writers?
well, yeah, this whole thing is so stupid. And then you're telling me you're in charge of putting up this stupid list and you can't decide who's number 6 and who's number 7, Krylov or Walker, or is that a misprint?
Oh man, yeah,
Is it
it's
supposed
like
to be 6 and 7? Or are you honestly tying them at number 6? Like we give a crap, right? Just
I agree.
make a pick.
I also think
I'm assuming that's quality control.
But I also think Anthony Smith, like, the man is so well spoken, and if his win-loss record reflected, he had some timely losses too. And there was a fight he didn't even want back in because he thought he was really injured, and his coach was like, "No, you're fine, and this and that."
Right,
That
right.
put a black eye on his otherwise, really, really good career. I really like listening to him. I love him in the like the booth, like the commentary booth, not the color commentary
Yeah.
booth, but like the panel thing. I love listening to that guy. I love listening to his opinion and this and that. I loved when he asked John Jones. Remember when John Jones fought? He's like, "Hey," he asked politely, and Jones is so wound up, this and that. And he's like, "Look, I didn't, I'm just asking, So I thought he would have been good for the division. And you're right. A lot of these people don't even speak the language, which hurts too. You have to be undefeated.
Well,
You have to be undefeated if you don't speak the language.
Yeah. That is tough. That's a commentary I often make with ONE FC. And with ONE FC, like, I know you're a fan of the sport. Do you watch a lot of ONE FC?
I started watching more when Demetrius Johnson got traded.
Okay.
Yeah,
So no,
that's
right? Don't worry. The answer is no.
Just
Nobody
him
watches...
and the 155 guy who's like the this Eddie Alvarez. I follow Eddie Alvarez.
Well, he's gone already.
I know,
Yeah.
but the guy had 4 different promotions, so I follow him everywhere he goes. But your thought,
Like the problem with ONE FC is that a lot of their people don't speak English,
right?
and that's fine. But when their goal is to dominate the Western market, it's really hard, man.
Agreed.
Like, it's really hard when you try to enter the Western market. Like, I think it was, they're doing those cards on Prime, right? ONE FC on Prime, on Amazon Prime. And I think
now I know.
You didn't know that? Yeah.
No.
See?
It's how bad it's been. Yeah.
But that's a problem, right? Because nobody really knows, right? First of all, nobody's really watching Amazon Prime anyways, but you put the cards on there, they've had bad production value. But I think it was like quite a few of the cards that they've had. It's prime time. It's Friday nights, one on Prime, right? It's, I don't know, one a month, one every couple months. But a majority of the main card fighters don't speak English.
Right.
And it's like, I get it. English isn't, that's fine. But I think if you're going to try and enter that market, I think it would do good on ONE FC. And this goes towards any fighter that's in the industry. I think if like UFC wants to push them, just pay for them to get lessons. Right. I think you really need to have your stars, unfortunately, be able to speak English.
Yep.
And I think whether you're the fighter that wants to do that on your own accord, or whether the promotion says, "Hey, look, you're moving up in these rankings."
Yep.
Krylov, let's get you a tutor because we want you to speak at least enough English to be able to at least cut a small promo.
Right.
I don't need you to do a 2-hour podcast, but I just need you to be able to cut a promo in the ring, or when we ask you about your fight, we need you to generally be able to answer.
Agreed. Listen, in my wheelhouse, beach volleyball, there are 2 Brazilian players, female, right? One was in 4 Olympics, or at least 3 Olympics, and won the bronze. And she's now an American citizen, so she's joined the domestic tour of the AVP. And
Nice.
in 2021, they had a lot of regional stops, Atlantic City, this and that, or whatever. And I thought their highlight was the Chicago Open, which is like the last big Gold Series match, a tournament. They went from the qualifier, because they didn't have enough points for the draw. They went from the qualifier to the draw to the finals. and they lost in the finals. And that should have been a huge story. There should have been huge podcast guests and this and that. But neither one of them speak the language very well, right?
Yeah.
But I also found out one of them does. They just when they're not interested, they're like, oh, I don't understand English, you know. But one of them, I'm not gonna light her up because we're not talking about volleyball right now. But if I had to,
Well, no,
I'm like,
but that's
woman, you speak the Queen's English. Stop it, you know. But
yeah.
sorry.
But that's the thing though, right? Like I think, there are fighters that, really should have learned English, Jose Aldo being one. I mean, he boxed what was it, a month ago or whatever at some event, and then he started speaking English. I'm like, when did this dude learn English? But he spoke English at some point. I do think, like, that you got to get these interpreters and to talk to it. I mean, I don't know if you know, but the LPGA had a big issue for a while where a lot of their top players were South Korean women,
Yep.
and they had instituted a rule. I forget what the story is, but they had tried to institute a rule that said if you don't speak English, you cannot compete. And it became a huge problem.
Whoa.
And then they obviously reneged on it. There was obviously a better way to massage that in,
Right.
right? Like, you don't need to say you can't compete, but how about, hey, everybody, we are now offering free English lessons to help you with sponsors and blah, blah, blah. Like, so if you frame it in that context, the player themselves will be like, oh, wait a second, you mean I can get more sponsorship deals and I can make more money through this, and you're going to
Yes.
pay for me to learn English? Yeah, cool, let's do it.
Look at Djokovic.
Yeah,
Right, his
right?
ability to
Exactly.
speak English made him, he's the number one player, and we know it. You know, this
Yeah.
whole
Yeah.
Grand Slam thing and breaking the record didn't sneak up on us because he doesn't speak English. He does speak English. You know, there was
Exactly.
also
And,
some,
and put a little asterisk on this conversation because
yeah.
I am the worst at learning another language. So I
Well,
understand that it's
English
very
is hard
tough for
enough,
some
dude.
people. No, no, but I'm just saying, like, growing up, I was, in French class and whatever in Canada. We take French like for 12 years in school, 13 years. I can't speak a lick. My wife is South Korean. We've been watching South Korean dramas on Netflix for years. I've got like two words down pat, man. Like I am horrible at it.
No.
But I would like to think if this was a part of my job and my employer said, hey, we're going to give you a dedicated tutor to learn the language, I would think I'd probably be able to do it. And if it meant me making more money in my life,
Hmm.
and if that's how you sold it to me,
Yeah,
I
I'm all
I would
in.
probably be okay.
I was in Germany. I was in Germany for 2 years. I spent well, 2.5 of my 3 years in the United States Army, and my German got better because I was there, right? But we're talking like
Yeah.
two and a half to almost 3 decades ago. I don't speak a lick of German now, but like you said, for basic survival needs, right? If you don't want to just stay on the American base, you don't want to just involve yourself in provinces and locations where everyone speaks English. Sometimes you
Right.
need to use the bathroom. Sometimes you don't want mayonnaise on your burger. I mean, that's ridiculous, right? And sometimes you got to save you from yourself, right? To quote
Hmm.
Mother Teresa, one must participate from one's own salvation. Sometimes, which is very, very important.
Yeah.
Well said. Well said. Hey,
Hey, well said by you. Two
mhm.
key phrases to learn when you enter a new country: where's the washroom and no mayonnaise.
Yes, no
Got
mayo,
it.
dude. America's unnatural obsession. Listen,
Yeah.
ask for a burger with a little bit of mustard, they give you like a little bit of touch. You ask for something with mayo, it's wham. It's
Just
that
dip it
Karate
in there,
Kid
man.
wax
Dip it
on,
in.
wax off thing, man.
Yeah.
They just
Sweet.
paintbrushing your shit with it. So next, lightning round question. Lightning round question number 3. Um, Conversations always come up every year about the greatest of all time. And sometimes pound for pound, greats and this and that. So, in your respect, and you can approach this in any facet you want in terms of marketability or who's just the best fighter of all time. 60 seconds, my man. Who is your MMA GOAT? Your GOAT.
Yeah, dang it.
Your
This is
GOAT.
the worst question for me that I get a lot. I never know who to put on this list.
And you got 50
I will.
seconds.
Look, I'm down to 50 seconds. I'm going to say that for me, I immediately disqualify anybody that's been caught for steroids or drugs. I think that that's always a no bueno for me. Like, yeah, you cannot do that because it means you competed. I don't know how long you were doing that. And for all the reasons, not maybe that it made you physically better or whatever, but it gave you some sort of weird mental edge, things like that. I take that out of the thing. I also look at at what you do both inside the cage and outside the cage. I look at what the kind of person that you are as a whole to see, are you someone that kids should be looking up for? Because I think if you look at
I'm writing down your guy right now. Go ahead.
yeah, I think it is. Okay, so it's got to be inside or outside. Have you had it written? I've only got 10 seconds before I spit this name out.
I got
inside the cage and outside the cage antics. I'm going with Dustin Poirier.
Oh,
is that what you wrote?
No, I wrote GSP.
Shoot.
I said, man, he's a Canadian. He's going with his brother. Come on.
Yeah. No, I would go Dustin Poirier. Not, okay, he's never held the title and all that. I just like the dude. I think he's a good guy. I think he does good stuff in the community. He's a very excellent fighter. He puts on things. I'm not saying that he's my GOAT.
No, but
tomorrow. I'm not saying he's my
no.
GOAT
We're prisoners of the moment. We're having fun here
right
now.
Yeah, but I'm gonna say, for the kind of guy that he presents as, I would say that dude is a pretty good guy. I would also say that Joanna Jędrzejczyk is probably up there for me too. Like, if I think about someone like that, or Ronda Rousey even.
Yeah,
I think about Ronda Rousey.
Beat a lot of odds just getting into the UFC. Yeah.
Right. But I think it's someone who overcame stuff, who did well. I don't care that you're undefeated. Frankly, if you're undefeated, I always think that you didn't fight the best competition, or that something went funny. But Dustin Poirier, man, he's got to be up there for me. I just think he's a good dude. Seems like a good dude.
Yeah. Well,
but it's tough, man. That's a really tough thing.
I like it because we can ask each other this question tomorrow. Right, and it'd be like, you got someone else, which by the way is fine. I'm not, for the people listening to this podcast, we're prisoners of the moment. We're not staple to this GOAT thing, and what GOAT meant to him at this moment is 100% justified. The dude's philanthropy, outside of the cage, as well as him performing in the guts and grit and determination. Not to mention big, timely wins. Dustin is a great pick. My pick. All right, ready?
Yeah.
My pick. Listen, I figured I'm just going to carry the Canadian water for us, all right? I'm from America, but I'm also from Brooklyn, which is a different country, which means we get to do whatever we want. I'm going to go with George Rush St. Pierre. And I'm going to go with Rush St. Pierre because everyone talks about how boring wrestling is and this and that, but if you look at the best main eventer and one of the leaders in pay-per-view and a leader in crowd size, it happened to be a guy who's a wrestler, who, by the way, wasn't even a college wrestler. He learned this on the fly. He perfected this, and he started beating Division I All-Americans, if not, semifinalists, if not champions. This is a man who, when MMA was under a big microscope as being like this brutal combat sport and human cockfighting, and these guys don't have any class, a bunch of shaved head trailer trash guys. No, this man brought an element of class and respect and dignity to the sport. And when it was time for him to deliver against fighters that he was heavily not favored against, he delivered in 2 divisions. Not to mention, I'm a prisoner of the moment because he did a service to humanity by choking out Michael Bisping, who is an absolute jerk, even for promotion purposes. This is just for their business. I'm like, fine, it's all for business. It's going to be because it worked. If you're doing this for business to get people to hate you and want to see someone finish you, Michael, it worked. Because now I want to see someone finish you. Now you can't play the victim when someone a weight class below you after you fought a 47-year-old and freaking limped around and acted like you were hurt, got housed by George Rush St. Pierre. Way over time. So your timing's better than mine. That's right. That's why they pay you the big bucks.
That's a good call. Yeah, look, he's got to be one of the guys that's on almost everybody's Mount Rushmore.
I had Jones until you talked about drugs. I had John Jones, and when you started talking about drugs, I said picograms.
But that's fine though. But a lot of people dismiss me on that,
right?
And they go, "No, I don't care. It's just at the time." And hey, at the time when he was fighting guys, everybody else was on steroids. So what are you going to do? Blah blah blah. I'm just like, that's fine. I just call it clean like it is. More people actually have a problem with me saying that it counts as to what you do outside the cage,
right? And I got to tell you, let me interrupt you. What John Jones has done out the cage on his run to the title is commendable. The dude was fighting crime like the day before he beat Shogun for the belt, right? Someone snatched someone's purse and he ran down the guy and was fighting crime. So Jones, I'm not one of those guys that be like, oh, he's bad for the sport, he's this and that. There are some people in your life that are just douchebags, and they are what they are. And there's some people that are just misunderstood. John Jones is the poster boy for the latter. So heavily misunderstood, highly disturbed in some ways, and trying to meet the challenges of all the success that that came down him on like a ton of bricks. Because before that, he was just a kid that wanted a title shot. You know, I love me some John
Yeah.
Jones, and
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
was my it was my impulse to say first, right? He got that one
Yeah.
disqualification loss by Hamill, you know, which is just scary for me because you got Steve Mazzagatti saying, "Can you hear me?" Right to Hamill, I'm like, he can't hear you,
Yeah.
he's
Yeah. Yeah.
deaf, and
Yeah.
he's got blood in his eyes. So I can't. I mean, from Jones' perspective, fine, all right, he got DQ, but from Hamill, who's deaf and now couldn't see, God damn it, that must have been scary.
Yeah.
Your
Yeah.
eyes are
Yeah.
going now, and now your ears are going, and it's just
Yeah.
like, what do you do? Do you communicate by tapping up and down? How did that even work? And how did I even drift to that subject? Sorry, man.
No,
I
no, no.
steered us both off
It's
path.
morbid. You're getting
But
morbid.
but Jones was my impulse, but GSP was my really
Yeah,
just
he's a good pick, man. He's a
yeah.
good. That dude is a good pick.
Hmm.
My only contention with him is like his finishing rate,
Right.
right? Like because it was a lot of decisions,
Yeah.
but you do what you do. You win. You win. I mean, that's an
Isn't
argument for another show.
isn't that
But yeah,
interesting that some of the champions are getting finishes until they get their title in the decisions. But I think the decisions
dude.
generate also from the heightened level of competition. You're always going against number ones, but at the same time, you're trying to keep your belt. But then you see like someone like Khabib, you know, when he was in a championship picture, there were nothing but finishes,
Yeah,
you know,
there's
so.
yeah, no, that is something that I've talked about with people and argued about because to me that's something, and it's funny. I'm trying to pull this up really quickly if
Please
I
go ahead.
can, but I did posts where I compared the finishing rates of champions when they were fighting for a
Hmm.
title slash not for a title, or when they were fighting while they entered as a champion. I just butchered that explanation,
No,
but
that's,
the difference
but
the
at the same
difference
time, well
between when
put.
you were the difference between when you were entering the fight as a champion versus when you weren't,
Hmm.
and the finishing rates were astonishingly different compared
Right.
to fighters. Like when you would see the differences. Hold on, I'm gonna try and do this. Do. Just sing a song or something, and I'll find this very quickly.
Well,
Hold on here.
I got, let's see. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone. Boom,
I hope you
boom,
know the whole
boom.
thing. Hold
It's
on.
not warm when she's away. Ain't no
Son of a gun.
sunshine when she's gone. She always been too long. Anytime she goes away. Oh, oh, oh. And he
Dude, that
knows, he
was
knows, he knows, he knows.
all right. Son of a gun. I don't know where it is, but I had it
Actually,
somewhere.
as you keep looking for it, I'll move on to the next subject matter. You can listen and look
Yeah,
at the
yeah,
same
yeah,
time. All
yeah.
right. My next subject matter is: should fighters be obligated to fight someone if someone misses weight? So I'm gonna go 60 seconds on that, but I probably won't even last that long. I'll allot you the rest of that time on 1 minute as you continue to look for this. But this is for you and for our audience as I start the clock. All right. My answer is hell no. They shouldn't be obligated to take the fight. Like if you consider someone actually stop cutting their weight while you still have to cut the weight and how much stronger and replenished they are going to the next fight, that is an unfair advantage. When you consider that someone misses weight by a significant category, even if they forfeit their purse, if they can beat you, they move up in the rankings, which is more money for their purse. That is absolute nonsense. And also, you as a journalist, right? While you're looking up stuff, I bet you looked this up before. If you look at the win-loss record of the last 30 fights, right, of the people who miss weight, I would not be surprised if I guesstimate 24 wins, 6 losses for the people that missed weight. Those guys won. So I'm cutting off the clock now because this category really pisses me off, and it really highlighted with Josh Wonderboy Thompson not getting paid. The guy showed up. The guy showed up and shouldn't be allowed to fight someone like, oh, forget about it. It's a total lack of discipline. You have 2 jobs: show up to fight, show up to weigh in, make your freaking weight, and nobody should be obligated to. Done. Wow. Okay.
Perfecto.
Yours.
Yeah, I got the answer as a big hell no. There's no way that you should be forced to fight. I think the Wonder Boy issue was a good one. Just recently as well in ONE FC, there's a girl, Sohee Ham.
So he
She's South
hams.
Korean.
Yeah.
Sohee Ham, right? She's a great fighter. She was supposed to fight a Japanese girl, Itsuki Harada, in what was essentially a grudge match between these two. Harada missed weight and hydration. ONE FC has that hydration rule. Sohee Ham said, no, I'm not doing it. I'm not risking my career on this. And for all the things that means, right? And I think that was the right thing to do. I think that more people need to take a stand and say, I'm not going to fight when the person misses weight. I don't care that you're going to give me 20% of the purse or whatever crap, because the win is what I really care about. I don't care about that extra 20%. I did propose something. It's called the fight and sight clause. And I think it should be in all contracts moving forward. I think it's where the fighters, when they sign their contracts, have a guaranteed amount of pay if their opponent misses weight. It would avoid the Wonder Boy issue where he's trying to debate as to how much do I get. Dana says, hey, we'll take care of you. I think it should just be stipulated in the contracts moving forward, so then everybody knows what you're going to get.
God bless. Boom. We open and
Yeah,
shut the door on
I think
that.
what happens. I'm gonna go on a little bit. I think
Please.
what happens is when the fighter is put on the spot the day before fight day and told, hey, your opponent missed weight, do you want to fight or not? I think a lot of fighters probably sit there and go, well, shit, I'm gonna get $0,
You're right.
and I've just dehydrated myself crazy. I don't know that I'm thinking 1,000,000% correct. I don't know what the frig to do. Okay, but I've got all my friends and family here. They're all in the stands. Like, everybody's here. Okay, shit, I guess I'm
Yes.
gonna fight.
I'm so
Like, I
pissed
think
off.
there's a lot of pressure
Yes.
there.
Yes. I'm so
But I
pissed off.
think
I want to whip somebody's behind. Yes.
Right, but I think if your contract said, hey, look, if your fighter misses weight, we don't hold it against you and we pay you X dollars. Yeah, it's going to be way less than if you fought, way less than if you won.
Mhm.
But at least you'd have that somewhat conscious ability to make a decision and go, okay, but at least I'm going to get 10 grand, right? Or at
Right.
least I'm going to get 15 grand, like at least something. And then, okay, and then you'll book me again or blah, 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 like however this is going to work out.
Mhm.
But I feel like that's a big problem for fighters and they don't understand what's going to happen next. If I
Right.
say no, is the promotion going to be mad at me? Am I going to get any money? Like, what the hell is going to happen here?
How about
It's a big problem.
I'll go worse than you on this one. How about this? They put so much onus and so much controversy on the person who refused to fight, right? A few days later, we still remember Josh Thompson. How many of us actually remember the person he was supposed to fight? I can't remember the person he was supposed to fight anymore because that guy gets a pass.
Right.
And
The
that,
story,
and, wow,
yeah,
I'm
the
starting to get
story is all
loud,
the guy
but
that didn't take the fight.
yes.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
right
you're
now,
right,
off the top
100%.
of my head, as much as dedicated as I am, I can't even remember who Josh was supposed to fight right now. Who was Josh supposed to
No.
fight? You can't remember either, right? That's. Do you see how the onus and all the
Yeah.
the undeserved attention goes on the person who actually
Yeah.
did the right thing, whereas integrity should count for something beyond monetary gain? Because monetary gain, that's a given. You show up,
Yeah.
you should get paid. Boom, that's it. So, all right, cool,
Yeah, and
man.
he wrote, yeah, that's it. Just to go back before, because I know we're running down on time. The non-title fights versus title fights.
Please.
So this is at the time that I did this. This was back in July of 2022. Okay, at the time, Adesanya had a 43% finishing rate, but when he's champion, only 20% finishing rate.
Wow.
GSP went from 67% to 11%.
To 11, no surprise.
Anderson Silva, 86%, 80%. So he stayed very similar. Now, here's the kicker. This one was like totally blew my stat out of the water. I'd have to erase him if I was a mathematician. Demetrius Johnson, your boy, 0% finishing rate as a non-champion. When he's champion, 73%.
He's my GOAT.
That guy's the GOAT. There
He's-
you go.
he's the guy.
There's a great reason to say, holy crap, look at what this guy has accomplished. And then look at what he's gone on to do now still in ONE FC. He's still kicking ass and a hell of a gentleman, a hell of a good guy outside the cage. So there
The
you go.
love and respect I had from him made me not say he's the GOAT because I thought it came from a place of bias, such heavy bias. George St. Pierre is just respect, okay? If not love, respect. But I love Demetrius Johnson so much that I thought me plugging him up and down this whole podcast would have been like, okay, he's a D rider for Demetrius, and maybe I wear that badge proudly, but I was trying to be. It's weird because I didn't mention him because I was trying to be fair, but now it's unfair because I didn't put him in the GOAT conversation.
You know what? It is so funny because for me, I didn't even think about him because he's not currently in the UFC.
Right. Yeah.
So holy cow, my bad, but I didn't even really think about him. But yeah, that's right. As I pull the stat up and I think about everything that he's doing now in ONE FC, and I think about the guy he is, and that he's the guy helping lead the charge of ONE FC to dominate the Western market,
Yep.
or at least enter the Western market. Yeah, dude, that guy's got to be up there, man.
Also
he's a good dude.
Think about all of the complaints that he quelled, right? When he became champion, oh, this guy's a
Right.
decision machine. Boom, first round knockout. Oh, but oh, he can't submit anybody. Oh, he just submitted this dude. Oh,
Flying
he
arm
can't,
bars. Yeah.
right? He can't like, take someone in the end and then finish him at the end. He finished the dude with 1 second left. I forgot who it
Yeah.
was.
Yeah. Yeah.
Horiguchi, right? He finished
Yeah.
Horiguchi 4:59. So he submitted, he knocked out, he's dominated the whole round. He's
He's done
dominated and then
everything.
submitted at the end. And then he did a
Yeah.
move, the flying armbar that you and
Yeah.
I
The
can
suplex
rehearse.
into the armbar.
Yes,
Yeah.
you and I can rehearse that. All right. All right. This we can try to cooperatively do it and not do that. All right. Well, let's do
Yeah.
this. You do this and this, and we're not
Yeah.
going to hurt each other. You and I'm not.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to put us in the same category because you do train with MMA, so respect.
Okay.
But I wanted to convey the humor. Like
It's insane.
we can choreograph that intentionally, and it won't happen that way. And
You
this is
couldn't
not
do it any better, my friend.
no.
No.
So,
Yeah, it's crazy.
favorite weight class for women? You said strawweight.
Strawweigh's got to be
Right.
100%.
So
Yeah.
that's for both sexes, actually.
Yeah.
You were thinking, okay. I actually still like bantamweight. I still like these big name. I love Juliana Pena,
Yeah.
Amanda Nunez. I like what Ronda Rousey turned it into. I like how Holly Holm took the thunder. I like Misha Tate
Yeah.
down 3 rounds to 1. Came back and submitted a girl who never tapped out. Just think about the chronology and think about Shevchenko, who was in a division that had
Yeah.
these razor close fights with Amanda Nunez. Such an
Yeah.
interesting division that put the rest of the divisions on the map. But love me some
Yeah.
Thug Rose. Love me some Joanna. Love me some
Yeah.
who's Weili, Zhang Weili,
Yeah.
the best
Yeah.
fighter no one's talking about. Her English
Yeah.
is getting better.
I
Her
know.
English is
Yeah,
getting
see, there
better.
you go. There's
Yeah.
an example of it. Yeah. No, like that whole division is always so exciting. I think those girls bring on exciting fights, and it's just an interesting class.
Yep. So before we go, because I can do this all day.
Yeah, me too, brother.
I planned my whole day around this. This is why
Yeah, yeah.
when I was setting up, because the people don't know watching this, I'm teching my own show today. So the patience that this man sat there and watched me set up and like fix the problems I had because I'm not teching my own show. I'm eternally grateful because you did that. This happened, and this is
Yeah,
just
yeah.
this is one of my most fun podcasts ever because this is the wheelhouse
Thanks,
in
brother.
which because this is a wheelhouse I'm trying to get more involved in. My sport.
Yeah.
My sport has the players haven't abandoned me. Like the players, like all of the Olympians or whatever, the players always pick up the phone and say yes. But the non-inclusiveness, what's going on in beach volleyball, I feel like I got to jump off this sinking ship now. And they just got
Oh.
purchased. And their world championship, they just announced that they don't have a location, so it's canceled. So I'm just like, what am I doing? What am I doing in this sport in which these 5 zip codes don't even care about me? But
It's crazy.
I did my part. I'm the most viewed podcast in the sport. I'm
There
more
you
than
go,
second.
dude.
I'm
Hey.
more than second, third, and fourth place combined. So I took it as far as I could go, and I'm gonna stay with it because it's like Rogan. Rogan's still gonna have comedians, so I'm still gonna have volleyball players. But I want to expand these things I love, and it happens to be the things you love. So before we
Yeah.
go, we have 1 minute of lightning round questions that are inside and outside of the MMA spectrum. You ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, ready. All right. Favorite comedian?
Oh, oh my God. Jerry D.
I go Chappelle. Last good book you read?
I'm the Tao of Pooh.
Nice. The real Anthony Fauci. Marvel or DC?
Marvel.
Cool. Pool or beach?
Beach.
Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter?
Lord of the Rings.
Me too. Bourbon, vodka, or tequila? Or something
Tequila.
else? Nice. I'm vodka. Favorite sport outside of mixed martial arts?
Soccer.
I gotta go volleyball, though I love football. Favorite action film star growing up?
Jet Li.
Nice. I go Arnold. Arnold. Uh,
Yeah.
Favorite conspiracy rabbit hole, if you have one.
We did not land on the moon.
Yeah, there you go. JF Oswald did not act alone. So listen, before we go, is there a particular Insta handle or a site where people want to know more about your work, the fantastic work that you're doing for mixed martial arts?
Yeah, man. Thanks so much. Yeah, go check us out if you like me at all as a result of this, and thank you for having me on. go check me out at Fight Insight Podcast. I'm at Fight Insight Podcast on Instagram. Go check out our YouTube. Our podcast is everywhere you get podcasts, and we are happy to be your second favorite podcast behind the Option Podcast. Man, you listen to the Option first, then go listen to Fight Insight Podcast. But we'd love to have you. It doesn't matter that you don't like MMA. It doesn't matter that you don't follow MMA. We have guests every week, and we talk about just anything. So you do not have to be a fan of the sport. This conversation is far more technical than we ever get on MMA.
That was the most. Yeah, look, I've listened to your podcast. I follow your podcast now.
Thanks, brother.
That's Fight Insight, people. So listen, Timothy B might love you, but me, I don't love any of you guys. In fact, I can't stand you. In fact, I'm out of here, all right? So for all of you at home, for all of you on your iPhones and your iPads, for all of you on your desktop, who runs the world, baby? Old school from Fight Insight Podcast. Timothy B. I'm Jason DeBiss. This is episode 186 of the Option Podcast, and we are out of here. Come check out the Option Podcast on optionvb.com. It's also available on iTunes and Spotify and on YouTube under the NY Varsity Sports handle. You're going to love what you hear.